Okay, all good.
Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. We're going to give a couple more minutes for everyone to join in because I see that we have attendees joining from all around the world, and you guys are used to this. So I'm going to give a couple more minutes for everyone to join in. Before we get started, I'm just going to ask, can everyone see my screen okay? You should be seeing this crazy orange stuff on the screen. So can you raise your hand? Okay, I see. So I can definitely see you guys are here. So let me give one more minute. Let's say that we give one more minute and people are coming in. All right, so let's get started. So first things first, before we get started, if you have any questions or any issues, definitely use either the chat function or the Q&A. I forget that in this session, which channel is open for you guys, but either of the channels are open, either the Q&A or the chat room. So use the chat room, one of those areas to ask questions. So first things first, if you're interested in tutoring with us, either it's a group or one-on-one tutoring, or you guys should have gotten all your score report as of yesterday. But if you haven't received your score report, or if you have any issues registering for the next test, which was also gone out with your score report, do message Millie private chat or the Q&A chat so that we can take care of it. Also, yes, this session is recorded and it will be shared. So don't worry if you're listening to it and if you think that this would be helpful for your parents or your siblings or your friends, don't worry, we're gonna send it to you as well. And then follow us on our Instagram for more university tips. Our handle is on the bottom here where you see it on my screen. And you will see a lot more than just SAT tips and tricks there. So definitely do check it out. Last but not least, any questions you have as you're listening to our webinar, do send them in through the Q&A chat, and I'll make sure that I answer all of those questions during the session. And if there's any questions we cannot answer during today's session, we'll make sure to email you or have a separate conversation or an email so that we can answer those questions. And also, since we have a lot of materials to go through today, I'm gonna attend those questions at the end of each section. Okay, so if your questions are not being answered right away, be patient, and then we'll make sure that we go through all of them. So don't worry about that. All right. So if everything's clear, then we'll get started from here. So the next step is, I'm Jenna. I'm one of the co-founders of Millie. Here's a bit about me. You can find me here and here. That's great. Okay, so this is my life. Let me skip through this life story. That is great. Okay, skip. All right, we do these things at Millie. So what is covered today? So first off, we're gonna cover what is SAT. Many of you guys, it's your first time taking the SAT diagnostic test with us. So we're gonna go through very quickly about the overview of the SAT, and I'm gonna give you tips on, based on your grade year, when to take the test and how to prepare for it. And secondly, we're gonna go over the test results from your diagnostic that you've taken last Saturday. So it's still fresh in your mind. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the school leaderboard, which is like our favorite sort of section that our students typically like, and also some of the takeaways and how to read your own score. So that will be the next session. And then the last section is we're gonna talk a little bit about our group SAT group classes, which is our tutoring session. We're gonna show you what kind of course you can choose based on your level. And I'm gonna also do a quick intro of our online learning tool, as well as our mentors that you are tutors that you're expected to meet. Okay, so last Saturday, September 11th, we hosted our SAT diagnostic test. We do this on a monthly basis, and then this time it was attended by all of you guys sitting here, and it was more than 100 students from 40 different countries, and you guys were coming from 20 different countries. So the takeaway here for us is that there is a strong interest from all around the world, and it was a great attendance, especially given that it's very early morning for a lot of you guys, especially if you're in Central Europe, if you are in Western and Northern Europe. So great job and taking the test. So here are some of the visual representation of the students where you guys came from. And yeah, you guys can recognize some of these, sometimes some of the usual suspects and also some of the newer countries that's coming in. All right, so here's average score, here's your score, and here are some takeaways. And here is the average math English score, and here's our score. Here's the College Board average score, and here's our average score. And here is the takeaway. All right, so now you've seen your score and how we are a bit above the average. Now I'm gonna introduce you to guys like what does it mean and what is SAT. So SAT is a standardized test that's very widely used for college admissions in the United States, as well as select global universities. I want to bring your guys' attention to this select global universities, because most of you guys know that SAT is used in the US for many of the applications. And you know, there's this new whole conversation, the topic about SAT being optional due to COVID, and that's another topic. So if you're interested in learning more about that, we actually have an article that's published on our website that talks about the option. What does SAT being optional mean to you? I think that Millie will be sharing the article that you can read in our chat room. So go check that out if you're interested. But today, what we're going to focus on is, like, let's just say that SAT is important and used. And then what I want to give you guys as a tip is that it's not only just used in the US, but it's also used in global universities. Let's check that out. So what we've done here is we put together a list of universities. We went down this QS ranking 200 universities. This is like a global university ranking system. And then we looked at the universities that's outside of the US that use SAT as their requirements. So as you can see here, let's say if you want to go to Hong Kong University, the University of Hong Kong, you can see that their required score on the SATs anywhere from 1300 to 1500. So if you click this link, you'll be able to see that their actual document that takes you to the page where you can see the requirements here. And if you look at, let's look at one more university. So if you look at Bocconi University in Italy, same idea. Now, if you want to receive this document, what you can do is you can scan this QR code here, and it would take you to the page where you can submit your personal information. It's similar to what you did to sign up for the SAT. Your name, your phone number, your email, and your parents' information, and accepting to receive our email from us. Obviously, like that has to happen for the GDPR and personal data issues. So once you sign in this information here, you'll be able to receive this document that I shared with you on the screen just now. So you can either scan this QR code, and I think they will also be sharing the same link in the chat room as well, right? So it's taken by more than 2 million students around the world. And I also want to let you know that what is very important to know is there's 5 to 7 test dates that's available annually. Why 5 to 7 test dates? Let's go have a look at the test dates. So why is this important? Because for the students, you guys who are taking the test from overseas, not in the US setting, that you have less test dates, typically 1 to 2 test dates, less test dates available than the US students. So if you look at this page, there's 5 test dates for the international date. If you go to the US page, then you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 test dates. So it's very, very important for you to note that you go into the international test date. This information, this link is shared after the session. We have a feedback email that's going out, and it will be included there. So don't worry about it. And if you're a class of 2022 student now, go ahead and sign up right now. All right, so the last part of the overview of the SAT section is how to read the perfect score. We get a lot of questions, how to read the questions. And some of the questions that we get asked is, if I get X questions wrong, if I get 1 question wrong, does that mean it's 10 points off? If I get 3 questions wrong, does it mean that it's 20 points off? The answer is there's no such thing as 1 question equals X points, because there's scoring is done in a case that's called normal distribution. And normal distribution looks like this. Any questions? Blah, blah, blah. All right. So before we go into the next section, which we're going to talk about the school leaderboard and see how your school performed against each other. I'm just going to pause here if there's any questions or anyone that's came in here. All right. Okay. So it seems like there's no questions that is pending. So I'm gonna move on to the next question. All right, so that's everything. I'm gonna give actually like blah, blah, blah. We finished up the session. I'm gonna give one more. Thank you everyone for joining today. So the very last part of our section is now anyone wants to talk to us one-on-one, then you can sign up using this link that's saved here on my screen. Somehow I'm gonna show you, yes. So if you have any questions, here's a link that you can sign up one-on-one chat with me to ask me anything other than, it could be SAT, it could be university, it could be anything about my path, data science, or anything. So let me know. I'm gonna stop here on this screen and give another minute to go. And then if there's no more questions, I'm gonna end the session here. Any more questions? Okay. All right. So since there's no more questions, thank you everyone for joining today. And I hope to see you guys in our next webinar or the diagnostic test or at one of your in-school sessions. Thank you, everyone. All right. Bye.